When I went to college, I went to Texas Tech University. I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee. I went out on a football scholarship. And when I went out to college, it seemed like I went to the moon. A long ways away from rivers and lakes and green grass and trees. Out to the barren country of West Texas. It was a huge family event. My family had a Volkswagen bus. We were not hippies at that time, but we were in this Volkswagen bus. My father, my mother, myself, my brother, my sister, and we all drove. It took us a couple days to get to Lubbock. I'm the oldest child. This was a huge step. And I remember moving into the dorm, and my father and my mother carefully helping me gather everything up, and putting it in the closet, fixing my bed, puffing up the pillow, putting a little alarm clock out, everything you would do. And then my father, at the very end, he gave me his speech. And I remember he reached into his pocket and he pulled out a $1 bill. And he said, "Stephen, your allowance for the semester." I was waiting for the answer for this. And my mom was standing right behind him. I remember, "Your allowance," and he gave me the amount. It was an extraordinarily small amount. And I was doing the math in my head while he was talking, breaking this down by month, by week, by day, by meal. This money. And he pulled out this $1 bill, and he began to pull it in opposite corners. No one could work a $1 bill like my father. He was the most frugal man who has ever walked planet Earth. To this day, I still have never had a large Coke. It's always the small Coke and get the refill. I used to take his ballpoint pen and I would click it, and he would take it back from me and say, "That's one less time it'll work, son." I suppose you're right. So he said to me what this amount was. He said, "This is all that there will be. Now, it's going to have to last you the entire semester." And he said, "Every time you put your hand into your pocket and you pull out a $1 bill, I want you to remember me standing here with this $1 bill. And I want you to spend every $1 bill wisely. Because when you run out, there will be no more." I knew my dad was serious as a heart attack. And I knew that my mother would give me more. As she was smiling behind my dad as he's giving this speech. She's winking at me. But I have never forgotten that little speech. And that's the way I must be with the time allotment in my life. I don't have a day to waste. You don't have a day to waste. I don't have a morning to waste. I don't have an afternoon to waste. I remember one man coming by my office early in my pastorate, and he came by and he wanted to visit, and he came into my office, sat down. I said, "How can I help you?" And he said, Nothing really. I just wanted to kill some time. I think there are a lot of people who go through life that way. They're just time killers. And it would be nice if they would just kill their own time. But they want to kill other people's time. And you are taking away from other people their maximum opportunity to glorify God, to be productive in the pursuit of what God has laid out in His will. This is not to say there's not a place for recreation. There is the Sabbath principle taught throughout Scripture. We must rest. There is the need for the recreation of recreation. We cannot live full tilt every moment of every second of every life. It's like highlighting in yellow every word on a page. Then nothing really necessarily stands out. There is an ebb and a flow of life. But I want to tell you this. You only have so much time on this planet to breathe God's air and to drink God's water and to do God's will. And for God's sake, you better get on what He's called you to do. If He's called you to the ministry, then get after it. If this is the time to step forward and to go in a certain direction, then pursue the will of God in your life. There is only so much time to do it.